Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 47. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardall. And we are once again joined by our reoccurring guest, JT the Ginger. Welcome back to the show. If you want to get involved in the show, go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Beatty underscore Matt. Sean's at Sean underscore Beatty. Kev's at Kev's Believe the first thing believes me at 3. JT is at JT underscore the Ginger. Gentlemen, let's jump right into it. The Sounders, after a great start to the season, it's not great. It's not been great. They lost recently to Sporting Kansas City 3-1. So I am going to the game on Saturday. So I really hope that they kind of pick it up here and get back to their winning ways because they were rolling until I somehow cursed them. So the Sounders, I would like to apologize once again. But two losses out of like 20 games is not the worst thing. But I am going to be there against San Jose on Saturday. So I really hope the Sounders are going to get back to their winning ways. That Rui Diaz goal, oh my goodness, from basically half court. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. So please continue to support the Sounders. And if you see me on TV, just please record it, clip it, and then send it to me on Twitter at Beatty underscore Matt. Thank you. And I want to move on to the Olympics. There is no Seattle Storm basketball because they're all at the Olympics. So I want to ask each of you before we get into some hockey and some baseball, what Olympic sports have you been watching, and what is your current Olympic go-to sport? Yesterday, I watched handball, which is it's like lacrosse and hockey if they had like a baby. Um, that's what it kind of reminds me of. No, JT's like, no, it's the rules are interesting, it seems like, and I like it though. I don't know why it's not as more popular here. It seems like it would be a sport that everybody could play, like elementary gym school. Oh, okay, JT.
I would say it is water polo on a basketball court, but all you can throw is from behind the 3-point line, like in terms of basketball style. That's the only time you can try to score it. So it's very much like if you're playing basketball against a zone defense, but you can only shoot behind the 3-point line. Um, yeah, it's fun. It's the most requested PE sport there is, at least in the Tri-Cities, bar none. Yeah, the U.S. should have an awesome team. Sean probably
Oh, dude,
could go on a rant about that.
dude, how like if there's one thing America does is throw balls hard. Like look at the best pitchers in baseball, all Americans. Like how are we not just like dominating at handball? How are we not showing those Norwegians what's up?
Well, we are showing them what's up in water polo. That's what I
Who
saw highlights
cares? I
today.
want the handball. I want
Whoa.
to see some like freaks out there jumping from like the 3-point line, switching hands midair and throwing a laser. Like that's what I want to see.
Also, JT, you said shooting from behind the 3-point line. That is the men's basketball team, and they can't even do that. So they lose
Yeah,
to
so
France. So
maybe make them play handball. Who knows?
yeah, maybe make them play handball. Kevin, you enjoying any Olympic sports?
Yeah, I've been watching Olympic bowling. Oh, wait, actually, it didn't get voted in when it should have been. Yes, they tried to get it voted in for the 2020 Olympics, but they did not, which I was kind of well, the whole bowling community was kind of upset. So hopefully for 2024 they will put it in because there's some stuff that did make it in that I kind of questioned
Like
being a
they've already
sport.
voted. They've already voted on this stuff, Kevin. It's already if it's not in yet, it's not in for
Yeah,
2024.
for stuff that I consider. Is it more than a sport than bowling? Is like some of the stuff that they passed.
Like, what would you remove for bowling? There is one acceptable answer.
I know one. Can I interject?
Yes.
It's actually my favorite one to watch, but it's pointless, and we can get rid of it, and it can just be an obscure sport. It is called canoe sprinting. Okay, so I was three days old when I found canoe sprinting. It was in Rio, and all they do is they're in like a lunge position in the canoe. So one knee's on the ground, one knee's, and you only paddle on one side for 500,000 or 2,000 meters.
Yeah.
One side of the canoe. And I mean, obviously it's like your Eastern European blocks are really strong, really good cardiovascular types. I think Germany won the men's in the last one. Don't quote me. I'm very novice to this, but I ordered my canoe sprint and it's on eBay being shipped as we speak.
I also watched some fencing yesterday too, and I do like fencing. Like that's just basically a lightsaber battle, but refereed obviously, and you're not murdering anybody. But yeah, fencing is pretty
Hold
cool to
on,
watch.
What is
Yeah.
Kevin's sport he's getting rid of for bowling?
Oh, sorry.
Like badminton, like
What?
No, not
No,
even close.
no.
Not even a conversation. There are two acceptable answers: horse prancing, not a sport. I mean,
yeah.
it's a horse. I don't care. The human has very little to do with who actually wins. If the horse decides, I don't want to do this, he's not doing it. So it's a horse. It's not a human. So get rid of it from the Olympics. The other acceptable answer is 3-on-3 basketball. We already have 5-on-5 basketball. We don't need to make it smaller and just be like, here we go. Like, we don't need to do that. Like, I'm sorry, 3-on-3 is fine. There's leagues, but you don't need to have another Olympic sport with 3-on-3 basketball.
Yeah, why? What happened to just regular basketball?
Baseball is losing its Olympic status next time because we had to have 3-on-3 basketball. What is more Olympic than 2 types of basketball and no baseball and softball? Like, what are we doing here? Like, we got rid of the Olympics in Rio, the fundamental sport of the Olympics, and we're like, we need to have 3-on-3 basketball, and we need to have power walking, and we need to have horse prancing, but not wrestling.
Power walking is going away, right? That's
I think
what
it
this is the
I
last
think
one.
so. I think so.
But let's just like, I can agree with bowling, Kevin, but like horse prancing needs to go away.
Yes.
We're done with all of that stuff.
Very
I did-
Like anything with horses that is not a sport based on people, it is a sport based on horses. That is
Let's-
not an Olympic sport, period. I'm so sorry.
Let's triple down on basketball. We'll do above 50 years old and older.
No.
Full courts, slow
Let's-
press.
Let's do horse. Just
Oh, there you go.
international horse.
But no, Matthew. We're doing horse, but you have to play it on a horse.
Yes.
There you go. There
Like
you go.
Yes.
polo, but like
Yes,
basketball
But
polo.
play horse. Yes.
What's the playing field? Because these horses have to relieve
size.
themselves.
No, same size.
Is it grass or is it like
No, it's all
hardwood?
just regular. Like it'll piss the horse off.
I really
you
want to
can't-
see Damian Lillard shoot from a horse and see
Yeah.
how good he is.
I
Like
mean,
that's
would
just what
you
I want to
not
see.
wanna see that? Would you not want to see that? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think we just discovered a new sport: horse on a horse.
Yep.
I support Dame Lillard no matter what, Eskimo brother. Or cousin, really. But
Wow. I'm so glad only some people watching this got that.
And on that note, let us transition out of Olympics and into some NHL hockey. So last week was the expansion draft, and the Kraken selected players from almost every team. They selected from all 30 teams except for the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, myself, I tried to predict some of the picks, and I got 3 out of 30 right. So I'm going to count that as a very big moral victory since I didn't really do a whole lot of research. There I saw some people out there getting about, I didn't see anybody get like more than 50% really. So, it's kind of a guess for everybody. And,
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, it's tough to predict, and especially with the salary cap, it's like, what are they going to do? They're going to keep some space. They're going to spend it all. So, their picks were, I think they're not too bad. They definitely have some room to improve. So the picks I had correct were Morgan Geeky, John Quinville, and Jonas Donskoy. And I have a column coming out in the Shelton Mason County Journal. Shout out to my day job. I thought the best pick of the ones that I predicted right was Jonas Donskoy. He's coming off a career season for Colorado, probably a first or second line right winger. So that's a great pick right there. I think my least favorite pick was the goalie out of Ottawa. He just has barely played any games. He just doesn't have a whole lot of experience. Joey Decord. So I think he's probably just going to be an AHL guy, probably play at Charlotte. And I think my favorite pick overall was probably Jordan Eberle of the New York Islanders. He's got a lot of experience. They went to the conference semifinals this year. He had a great season for the New York Islanders, so I think that was a great pickup. I imagine he'll slot in as a probably Donskoy's a right winger as well, so he'll probably be first or second line. They'll probably flip flop depending on who's hotter. So I thought overall they picked young guys, which is good. And they also picked a Seattle Thunderbird from the San Jose Sharks. So I thought that was a pretty decent pick, although he doesn't have a whole lot of game experience. But I think they went young and are just trying to build out prospects and then just see who kind of pans out here, because they have money to spend in free agency, which starts Wednesday, and there's a lot of guys available like Alex Ovechkin, Gabriel Landeskog, a lot of different guys. Tuukka Rask at goaltender. They are very weak at goalie right now, so I think it is a very interesting selection for them at free agency. I'm gonna throw it to Sean here. What do you think of their expansion draft?
It's interesting. They have a lot of work to do. You said they went young. They didn't go that young. I mean, there's still a lot of like, I would say, veteran guys on this list. So I was kind of surprised with how old I thought they actually went. They seem to kind of be all over the board. I would say, I think the league and a lot of teams, and they talk about this, learned from Vegas and what Vegas did with the draft and who they protected and how they protected. And they basically dared the Kraken to take the better players, but really expensive players. They're like, you can take Tarasenko for a ton of money. You can take Carey Price for a ton of money and do nothing in free agency if you want and get a better team, maybe, and bank on these guys coming back. Or if not, you're screwed. The Kraken didn't bite, but they also, I mean, what the guys were left was the guys that were on the block for a reason most of the time. There's a couple guys they got that I really like. I think you said Geeky. Actually, Matthew, I'm kind of geeked for. Sorry, I'm so sorry. And then Donskoy is good, but like again, Alexander True, the guy from the Sharks, is basically a AHL second, maybe third liner. Like they got a bunch of guys who are third, maybe fourth liners in the NHL, and they don't have any. I mean, even their guys that they got, they're captains. They're guys that they could plug in are second liners now at this point in their career. I don't think without big free agent moves, I like their draft pick. That's a separate story, but or their draft overall. But I think without big moves in free agency, this team's going to would most of the time be in trouble. But before I send it to somebody else, it's a very good thing they play in the Pacific, because the Pacific all decided to take a massive dump at the same time. They are the NFC East of hockey right now. So it's basically Vegas and and there's one Connor McDavid floating around in Edmonton, and then it's just a bunch of crap. So they'll have a soft landing, softer than if it had been 3 years ago, because that would have been absolute murder for this team. But they need to make moves in free agency for this team for this team to do well.
You said they drafted old. There's only 2 guys over 30, so I'm not sure where you're getting there, but I mean, they do have some older guys in their later 20s, so I guess that's probably what you're referring to. JT, any thoughts? Favorite draft pick?
Gotta go with Appleton. Gotta support the fellow Ginger. Didn't really didn't know him prior, but recognize him from the monthly meeting we have on Zoom now. But Giordano is a name I recognized. I wasn't sure. I thought, I was like, are they picking him to trade him or flip him? But I've dabbled in fantasy hockey, and so that's how I know names ultimately. And so I like his story, and as far as like a captaincy goes, like I could foresee him being one of the first captains if they choose to do that in the first year. I don't know how that flies, but probably more up to the actual team in the locker room than anything. We couldn't get the older Quintonville, so we got his son, John, from the Blackhawks. So, and Pitlick, we hardly knew ye. Best of luck. Also, like Beast Mode calling out the Cali, you boy, Cali. That was kind of fun. I was like, he should have just rattled off half of them. I like that you almost got to kind of meet the core. Like they put 6 in the sweaters, and Tanev was kind of fun when he looked up. Oh yeah, that's a bad picture of me. Basically, I was like, acknowledged it. But Eberly is it Eberly?
Eberly.
Eberly is another name I recognize from fantasy hockey, just in terms of just being a valuable player. I know he was very much owned and sought after. But those are the names I kind of keyed in on as just kind of a casual fan, if you will.
Gotcha.
I will say, Matthew, that there are 10 guys who are basically 28 or 29. That's why it's old.
I mean, I guess if you want to call that old, sure.
In hockey, it's not young.
I mean,
like it's not.
in most sports, it's not young, but it's, you know.
You picked the arbitrary 30, and you're just like, that's old. And I'm like,
I mean, Giordano is the oldest player they picked at 37, so that I would, like JT said, I think he's going to be the captain at least for a couple of years.
he has.
Yeah.
I don't know about a couple, but he will be starting.
Yeah. Kevin, any thoughts? Favorite pick?
I would say my favorite pick, just because I picked it last week, and as someone who knows absolutely fucking nothing about hockey, Mr. Geeky, because I said you got to have a geek on the squad who knows advanced stats. Advanced stats win games. I mean, just ask the Oakland A's. I was very disappointed that we did not get Captain Picard. I told them, I'm like, you need a leader on this team, and Captain Picard is one of it. The only other surprise pick that I really liked was Mr. Nathan Bastian, the forward out of the Devils in New Jersey, just because the last team Bastian just got to go forward and go straight up the culo, as Sean already knows. Do one thing and one thing only. Just go Bastian. So yeah, other than that, disappointed Mr. Picard is not on our team. I don't know what we're gonna do with leadership. We better find a Kirk or something. But other than that, let's see what they do in free agency.
Yeah, I predicted a pair of brothers. I just predicted the wrong pair of brothers. It was Flurries instead of Watherspoons. So we'll see if I'm imagining they're going to pair those two together on the D pair. So that will be interesting to watch. They're both under 28 for Sean's purposes, so they're young, so they have time to grow. But let's talk a little bit about the entry draft. So I'm going to share my screen here and show you exactly who they picked. We got some great names here for Kevin to choose from. So with the second overall pick was Matthew Beniers, I believe is how you say it. And that was, Michigan was a very popular team in the first couple rounds. They had 4 of the top 5 picks. So, Michigan hockey did not get to participate in the NCAA tournament because of COVID. So it sounds like if they would have been able to participate, they might have had a pretty good chance of winning it. So Michigan had a great draft. And then here are the rest of their draft picks. You got a great selection of names here. So Sean, who do you like the best?
I actually like their first pick the best. He would have been the guy I picked first overall. And so I think they did very well. I find it interesting that they didn't take a goalie hire. So either they're rolling with the guys they got, or there's a free agency move happening. But that is what scares me about this team. There are possibly going to be some cuts made or things like that made, or trades with goalie market, because it's going to be old goalies are aging out. So maybe like a Fleury type move that Vegas made, like take an older goalie or sign an older goalie. Hopefully, like he can bring some stability to that locker room and with all these younger guys or guys with not a lot of experience. But I just think that Beniers was such a great pick. I know it's 2 overall, but I think there's a lot of ways you could have screwed that up. And they didn't. They got the guy I wanted most. It was actually, as a Sharks fan, I don't have my hat next to me. The Sharks draft had him number 1, and the guy they drafted number 2. They even admitted that after the draft. They said, "Look, Beniers is the best player." And when another team says that day of the draft, like they're like, that says a lot, I think, about who they got. So Beniers, if you're gonna buy a jersey, is the guy to buy.
I will say the person with the best name was drafted first, Owen Powers. I mean, that is a great name for a hockey player. I do agree with you, Sean. I think goalie is where they're going to sign somebody. Tuukka Rask is available. Peter Mrazek is available. So their goaltending is a little bit weak at this point. So it'll be curious to see who they sign in free agency starting Wednesday. Kevin, any thoughts on these picks? What's your favorite name here?
Even though Beniers is good, as Sean mentioned, he's not going to play because winter is coming. Ryan Winterton out of Canada. And he's bringing dragons along with him, with a Kraken. I mean, mystical, all that stuff. So, and same size too. So, I mean, you could just fit in, have his pet dragon by him, and kick some butt with the Kraken. So
I hope Kevin's guys do so well just based off name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Kevin's guys,
Yeah, honestly,
because Kevin's like,
I will say this right now. If Geeky, the guy that I picked, just goes ham with this team, I will buy it. I will buy a Geeky
I
jersey.
want Kevin's like this guy's
I'll
got
do it.
sweet tattoos and a sweet mustache. He's gonna be awesome, and I just hope they do awesome. Like knowing nothing.
And JT, I'm gonna throw it to you, and I think I know what name you're gonna pick here because it looks very similar to your name. So go ahead, JT.
Yep. VL Ataveninen.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
6'5", big boys, big toys. Finland. So need I say more?
No, I don't think so.
They did draft a lot of. I want to say they did draft a lot of very large defensemen, and I think that's someone said that they were linking that to like playoff play when it changes a little bit in the playoffs and like not getting pushed around. So maybe, like you said, big boys, big toys. He's 18, JT. Just FYI, so he's gonna grow. So,
yeah, and Beniers at 175. He's gonna get bigger. So they'll just kind of fill out a little bit, and he might get up to 221 like Otavainen here. So that would be quite a big lineup there for the Seattle Kraken there in the opening game. But gentlemen, let's talk about the schedule. So I'm gonna switch over here, and then we're gonna bring up the schedule just to show you exactly who the Kraken play to start the season. So they're gonna start with a 5-game road trip starting in Vegas, and then they are gonna come home on the 23rd to break in Climate Pledge Arena. I already got my tickets ready to go. I am excited. So how excited are you guys for some Kraken hockey, and which team do you want to see them play the most? I'm going to throw it to JT first. What do you think?
First off, let's get Kraken, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like starting off the first home game against like the geographical immediate rival, Vancouver. But I think I've definitely probably been wanting just to tune in just most of the West Coast games. It's just gonna be fun having hockey and some type of stake in it, even though it's just geographical in our own right. I mean, like, I know the story of both of you Beatty brothers, but like Kevin and I are fairly novice at it. Obviously, we're experts now and have done all of our homework, extra credit even. So yeah, circle that 14th right there. Kevin and I versus the Beatty brothers. We're gonna play a pickup scrimmage game before that at some point, and that will be the predictor of that outcome. And we're just gonna throw down because Kevin and I are big boys, big toys.
Let's do it.
Kevin?
Also, I've been secretly training the last 6 months with some guy named Gretzky, Wayne Gretzky. You may have heard of him.
I don't know who that is.
Y'all are going down. I'm secretly now going to get drafted next year by the Kraken because I'm now that good.
Kevin, you are officially though in the old category. Unfortunately.
We should have just said Kevin and I've been training with Oli because he's kind of local to here, and we're just going with a 2-goalie lineup.
That would be impressive. That would be kind of hard to score a goal though, if you think about it. Analytics. You guys have figured out an analytics way of playing hockey now.
Kevin, who are you most excited to see?
I would say probably just kind of how we stack within the division. As JT already mentioned, Vancouver. I kind of want to see Golden Knights just because everybody's so hot with them being the more recent, expansion team. I like to see how we stack up against them, and hopefully we kind of go poo-poo on them, a little bit. But who knows? We'll see what our team looks like coming this fall. But also, it's just some other big names like the teams that you see, like people walking around like, oh, like I always see people in Blackhawk jerseys, or I see people in what's Boston's team?
Boston.
Bruins.
The Bruins.
Bruins, yeah, like those type of fans. See if they actually come out during that time. That would be kind of what I'm interested in seeing. If we see more Kraken like in the Washington area, or we still see people with like their teams that have like a legacy of doing, I see Flyers jerseys too. So that'd be just to see if around here people are actually going to wear Kraken stuff. If they can be like, no, I'm a Flyers fan for life, like type of deal. Like, oh, were you born in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania or family ties like that?
Did you just take a subtle shot at me that entire time? As a Sharks fan,
No.
I'm in San Jose.
Well, I mean, we didn't have a team growing up, though.
True.
That's the whole thing, though. Like, because I know you're going to be a fan of both, but like,
be Sharks number one.
You'll get those some people that just like stick with it because they win, like kind of like what you have Packers fans around here. They're like, I'm a Packer fan, and I'm like, oh, so you're from like Wisconsin area? They're like, no, I like Brett Favre. I'm like,
I'll be the Sharks fan at the games, crying as what we used to be and what we could have been, and what we aren't.
So Sean's got this game circled on the calendar, I'm assuming.
The last game of the year.
Well, oh yeah, that too. Where is it? No, there we go. Yeah, right there.
So the game that I'm looking most forward to takes place on December 18th. That is the day you need to know because it's the best player in hockey. Connor McDavid comes to Seattle. He's amazing. Like, just that's the game you need to watch. Or I guess they play him on the 3rd too. Oh, I didn't see that. Same month. But yeah, go to those games because that dude, he will teach you how to play hockey real fast. Because I was watching the Sharks game and they go, look, guard Connor McDavid, and they did a power play and they put 2 guys on him. And he still scored the goal. And then they cut to the bench of the Sharks coach, and he goes, I don't know. And then they were like, whatever. And then they didn't yell at anybody because it was just like, it's just Connor McDavid. He just scores goals. Like you try, you put 2 guys on him, and then you hope he doesn't score anyways. So yeah, we have fun watching that dude play hockey because that dude is stupid good.
Yeah, at the end of the day, he does the hockey well.
He does.
You would say he would be like a great one at the hockey. I don't think anybody has that nickname, so you can take it.
I think so. The 2 games I am looking forward to are 2 games I have tickets to. I'm looking forward to booing Sidney Crosby right here on the 6th. That's going to be great. Yeah, and then I also have tickets to boo the LA Kings, and they're going to be bad too. So that's going to be even more fun to boo the LA Kings. So yeah, those are the 2 teams I am looking forward to booing as a Kraken fan. And let us know on Twitter who you are most excited to see. Some of your favorite draft picks. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at _Matt. Sean's at Sean_Betty. Kev's at Kev's believes first team believes we have 3. JT is at JT_the ginger. Gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about some Major League Baseball. And you know what? The Seattle Mariners, they are currently playing right now. My internet's a little slow. Okay, it's 8-6.
No.
Houston in the bottom of the 6th.
Oh, 8-6?
Yes, it is. 1 out and a man on 3rd currently, according to my ESPN right now. So let's take a look at the recent week for the Seattle Mariners. They had a 2-game series against Colorado on the road. They split it. They won 6-4 in the first one, lost 6-3 in the second one. Then they hosted Oakland for a 4-game series. They lost 4-1 in the first game, but then won the final 3, 4-3, 5-4, 4-3, and they had walk-offs in those Friday, Saturday games. Pass ball walk-offs, I will say. So let's talk about how they did this recent week. Kevin, what do you think of the Seattle Mariners this past week?
I would say a little surprised just because I think we did better against Oakland than what I thought. Oakland would kind of give us a little bit more troubles, even though it was like closer games, so to speak. But we just kind of pulled it out of our booty in the end with some weird, wild pitches and stuff like that. I love the matchup between Kikuchi and Montes. Like there was just a back and forth, just strikeouts. Cal Raleigh getting his first home run was pretty sweet to watch. I'm kind of surprised that we're technically at this moment a game and a half back, but if we lose, then we kind of. But I was kind of happier with Marco this week, almost going 6 innings with only 2-run ball. And then he kind of in the 6th got a little bit of a pinch that they kind of pulled him.
It's 8-7 now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, long single and Torrens.
Sorry to interrupt you. Keep going, Kevin.
Hey, you're good. Speaking of which, Torrens, just that bat just keeps being hot. Like, I guess you just keep throwing him in the DH and see what you got there. It's kind of like an interesting, weird little battle at catcher. Um, Kind of makes it look like that trade that we did with the Padres is kind of working out. Like Trammell's kind of looking like a weak kid, even though he's still very young and he's got a little bit to go. Just because um, what's his name, Matt Bash, the other guy that we got from it, it's been looking real dang good. And we'll get to those prospects here in a little bit, but overall, it's a happy week. I got nothing really much to complain about. So I'll pass it on.
JT, how about you?
Bullpen, both positive and negative. Montero, DFA'd, not a trade chip candidate, unfortunately, like we all were hoping for, but pleasantly surprised by Graveman, right? Streckenrider and Mr. Paul Sewald. If you're not on the bandwagon yet, he's thrown some nasty, legit plus stuff. And he's for real. This month of July. Say again?
That sea monster, dude. Speaking of Kraken.
But yeah, I haven't talked to you guys baseball in the last month, so I'm just kind of like trying to think just this last week. But I appreciate Chris Flexen, the triflexa. He's my boy. But yeah, Gonzalez starting to show life, and it was a tough game with Manea going there against the Ace. But coming off the All-Star break, just how well we've done. I've been pleasantly surprised, like kind of like scrappy winning baseball games. And I mean, like the last 3 games we won by were 1 run apiece. So that's always nice. I mean, law of averages says that moving forward, something's going to happen. And I'm just really interested to see how aggressive what we do in the trade market the last week or so here, or the next week or so here.
Sean?
I saw a stat. The Mariners have beat Oakland 6 times by a total of 7 runs this year. I don't know what witchcraft Seattle is using this year with like these 1-run games and winning.
Voodoo.
Expelliarmus.
They have voodoo dolls lined up in the clubhouse and they're just poking them every time the pitcher pitches in the tight situation. I saw also a stat that they are the 2nd worst hitting team with the bases empty. They are the 2nd best hitting team with someone on base. So they become the ultimate clutch team. Like whenever anyone gets on base, they're like, we're the best hitting team that there is. But when any inning starts, you're like, we can't do anything. Like, so all they need to do for an inning to get good is get somebody on base and it turns awesome. But I've been saying this every time we come on here. I don't know how long it's going to take. I expect the wheels to fall off, but it never happens. So I'm just going to like enjoy it. Hope we don't. I thought we were going to get embarrassed by Houston. Then we come back 7 runs down and now it's a 1-run game. I don't get this team. They're super fun. And JT said, get on the sea monster train. Seawald is a beast. This bullpen it's got monsters in it. Now, if someone comes at you with a Steckenrider for a really good prospect, I still pull the trigger. like I'm just like, look, we're playing for the future here. But and you can't pass up a decent prospect for some of these bullpen arms that teams are in desperate need of. But
what about Graveman? Would you do the same?
Oh yeah. Graveman, Steckenrider. Yeah, you're like, hey, we'll give you some like. There's some crazy people that are willing to give deals out there, especially for bullpen arms. Package like both of them. You get both of them to a team that desperately needs a couple. You could probably get a decent return on a prospect. And so I'm like, you're talking to a top 10 prospect in your organization for 2 relief pitchers who won't be here in 2 years, anyways. Like, sign me up. As fun as it is now to have the sick bullpen, just let's do it. Well, I'd be all for that. But yeah, they're fun right now. Like I can't deny that.
Yeah, I mean, you take 3 out of 4 from the A's, you're 1.5 out. I mean, I think we've all said it here, like we're kind of expecting the wheels to come off. So enjoy it while it lasts. Some observations. please don't send Jared Kelnick back down. Just leave him up there. Just let him take his lumps. He's just going to go through
That's so
this.
sweet, man. Please.
It's he's a young guy. He'll figure it out if he is that prospect that everyone has built him up to be. So just leave him up there at this point. I see no reason to send him back down again. And then let's talk a little bit about the trade deadline. So that is July 30th. That is Friday. I think that the person you guys have already mentioned, Sean, wants to trade away the bullpen. I think the one guy who sticks out to me selling high right now is one that Kevin mentioned, which is Luis Torrens. I think you sell high with him and get something back in return. You've got Tom Murphy, you've got Cal Raleigh, you've got Luis Torrens. You have no need for all three. I say he's probably the odd man out based on his play. Someone needs a bat. The Rays just traded for Nelson Cruz, so that's off the table, thank goodness. So I think that he is the most likely trade candidate. I know a lot of people are saying keep Mitch. You guys are saying it's going to be a crowded outfield. I like Mitch. I don't want to get rid of Mitch.
Mitch is
but
awesome.
but
2 years.
but I guess if you got to get something real good back. I don't want prospects back for him. I want someone who will be on the team for a while, and I don't think you're going to get that personally. So
that trade's not going to happen.
Well, then let's keep Mitch.
Who would trade a major leaguer for a major leaguer at the trade deadline? like that's not going to happen.
I don't know, but I don't want prospects for Mitch. Don't want prospects.
There's a difference between prospects and like AAA guys. Like there's a difference. Like the AAA guy will be here next year versus like I'm not saying trade him for an 18-year-old, but like you could trade him for the AAA guy who like a Tramble who will be here next year, or maybe if you need him to can play this year, but is still in the minors now. Like you view that guy as a prospect, but he might be ready to go now. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying, but I would rather keep Mitch personally.
I would rather keep Mitch too, but like what I'm saying is like should have traded Kyle Lewis like I said last year, but like Mitch it's just a contract thing. It's not a play thing. It's a contract thing. And if you think he's going to sign and stay, that's the thing. Same with Kyle Seager. It all depends. I think all of us can agree here what you will get for Mitch.
Yeah.
Like the price that he will get.
But I would say Torrens would be your guy you trade since you have Cal, you have Tom Murphy, and you just drafted a catcher with your first round pick. So at this point, I think catcher is in a good place to where you can get rid of Torrens, get something back, and you'll be just fine. Justin, what do you think?
Of who to trade?
Who would be your guy you'd want to trade at this point in time, I guess, is the question here.
Let's say trade for. Can I do that?
Sure.
Let's trade for. Well, we've been linked to Witt. Kevin loves Witt. I'll let Kevin talk about Witt. He can't quit Witt. But let's trade for. I don't know. Would you want a Trevor Story? How much would it cost? I'm sure in terms of money, the Rockies would be totally willing to foot the bill. They did a really good job of that with Arenado. So they're like, hey, we'll just pay
Arenado deal. Sign me up.
Yeah, if we get the Arenado deal or like 80% of that, I'd be like, yeah, sure.
Like one top 30 prospect or two barely top 30 prospects in our organization. Yeah, let's do that.
So is Trevor Story a free agent after this year?
Ooh, I can find that out. I have roster resource.
I think he's a free agent.
I think he is, but that's the whole point. Like you don't have to give up a ton to get him.
Yeah, that's true.
Like almost like the Cardinals did not give up a lot to get him.
I saw that the Mariners were in on the Adam Frazier deal, and they were willing to like not have Pittsburgh put in money. So the prospect package must have been a little bit less in their terms of what Pittsburgh was viewing it as compared to the San Diego prospect package. So that was really interesting, kind of almost a tell where it's like maybe this Witt trade might come to fruition. Go ahead, Kev. Spill your love of Witt.
So as someone who's played the fans, I've had Whit Merrifield damn near almost every year for like the past 3-4 years, just because he's a very versatile player, like a dude that can He's probably going to hit you 20 bombs a year, but he gets on base. He steals bases. He has 25 steals already this year. He can play infield, second base. He can play outfield for you. Just an all-around super solid player that you can play him at leadoff. You can play him in the 2-hole. You technically can play him in the 3-hole. They have done that before. I would rather have him at the 1 or 2 slot. But especially when you need a second base guy, and also he has the versatility of playing the outfield. He is 32. But if you do trade for him, he's still under contract until the end of 2023. So you get him for 3 years after. So in that case, he'll be around 34, 35, to where it's not like a Cano contract where you're looking at him until he's 40 type of deal. Like if he pans off, to where he slumps down, which he hasn't shown any sign of, he's doing great this year on a team that's kind of struggled. It just really depends on what we would give up for him. That's the thing. And I have a feeling Kansas City is going to want a nice chunk. They're going to want, I have a feeling we're looking at like a player to replace him, which I have a feeling they'd be looking at Noelvi Marte.
No, never.
And I would not want it either. I would rather keep Marte. So it just really depends on what they want for him. Just because he would be under contract with you for 3 years, and he is a top second baseman who has flexibility and gets you on base, and he just gets on base, period. Which is something that we do need. But I don't know if it's something that we really need this. Like, I'd be okay if we didn't do it. As we said before, I don't feel like we need the trade this year, just because I don't think what Merrifield gets you to the World Series. You really need better pitching. I mean, Logan Gilbert continues to do what he does, and Kikuchi continues to do what he does, and Flexen. Like, maybe that's your 3. And I know we'll let Sean get to that in a little bit, but I still don't want to trade a lot of pieces for what we like. As we have mentioned in the last 2 to 3 podcasts, our prospects are murdering down below. Like, I think we just need to be patient and just enjoy the results that we have. But I know at the same time that it's part of his job to try to win every year. So that's why I'm just really hoping Dipoto doesn't really do anything crazy. Now, I'd be okay with, like, if they sent like Bash, whatever the heck his name is, and then maybe like another piece. I don't know. What would you guys think if they were to send like Shenton and like some other piece? Would you be okay with it?
No, I would even do less than that, because my issue with that is like, Brash I really like, and
I do too.
I really like Shetton too, but it's my issue is like you're right. He's Whit Merrifield is what, 32?
32.
34? Like, you're trading for a 32-year-old second baseman. When you said it best, you need pitchers. I mean, like a starter right now. If you're trading for something right now, you need a pitcher right now. Like a second baseman who's like at a 728 OPS, which is like basically JP Crawford, isn't gonna like turn the wheels on this team. So, I mean, he's a nice player. Yeah, and he steals a bunch of bases, and will shore up second base where you don't have to play like Ty France or Shed Long or Dylan Moore. And he's an upgrade over all those guys, but he's not the upgrade that turns this team around. You need to let the young kids play, and I'm okay with Shed Long getting some at-bats to see if he can come out of this thing or see who he is. Because, again, this year is kind of all a bonus. Like, these guys are playing well because of a bonus rather than, like, let's try to do something with this. And I'll go on record here for everybody online trying to steal Chris Flexen. That's JT's boy. Like, everybody here is like, oh, Chris Flexen's the best. JT, from like the day he signed out of Korea, because JT is the #1 Korean fantasy baseball player right now. Tip of the cap. He's the champ right now in all of Korean fantasy baseball. He was like Chris Flexen doing it. So that's JT's boy officially.
Yeah, mykbo.net. Come at me, join the community. Try to chase this. I only started a year and a half ago. I'm number 1 already.
I would
What's
do
up?
like Caden Polkovich maybe and like a Joe Rizzo, like 27th and like 22nd in our farm for him.
Can I pose a thought bubble?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we need pitching more than anything. Cubs are selling. Kyle Hendricks is available.
How long is his deal? Because we're not playing for this year.
two more years after this, and a vesting for 2024 at 14 million per, and the vesting is 16 mil. Would you want Kyle Hendricks, and what would you be willing to give up if you do want
He's a
him?
contact guy, and Safeco's not terrible. He's 31. He's actually younger than Whit Merrifield, so I didn't think that was a thing, but he is. I'm not opposed to that, JT. I would give a little bit more for a Hendricks, but he's not a number 1, so he's not a stud, obviously. But those guys are going to require like a ton of things. But he'd be a nice player. Actually, I didn't think about that. He'd be a really nice player to add.
I would love him. Gilbert, Hendricks, 1-2, like moving forward.
Okay, we're gonna go off topic here. Everybody here. Kikuchi has a option here. 4 years if you pick it up. Do you pick it up? It's all you have to get all 4 years at once. It's not just like a boom.
How much are we talking?
Yeah, I would say so.
I can't. That's what I was looking up. I think it's like something like 17 a year.
Gucci, yep, 16.5.
Yeah, if you pick it up. He's 3 more years at 16 and a half.
Yeah, I would say so.
What do you think, JT?
No.
There's no wrong answer because he's been bad and then good and then like how good has he been? Has he been 16 million good this year?
I would decline, but have like already negotiated maybe something restructure wise.
Yeah, because that is not an easy question. What do you think, Kevin?
Just because the money. Yeah.
He's younger
Even
than
if-
Hendricks. So.
Even if he doesn't pan out, like, because with what's coming up, he'd be your number 5, pretty much, like your 4 or 5, depending on. Because I still think Kirby would be better. Because you have Gilbert, Hancock, Kirby.
You got to assume one of them won't work out though, Kevin, because that's kind of
that's the thing.
So.
It's just how many will work out type deal. And even if he doesn't, like he could be your guy who's like Roenis Elias, or like Santiago this year, that could be your bullpen guy that can get you out of a jam for like 3 innings if your starter just has a bad day.
Yeah. Or an emergency starter if you need him to be.
Yeah, exactly. If one of your starting 5 goes down, he's your emergency starter, and you know he can get you at least 5 innings. I would probably say yes, just because what we've seen him put work in this year. I wasn't too concerned with his start after the All-Star break. I think he was still sick.
He said he was. He said he was. Yeah.
It's my dad was asking me, he's like, what's going on with Kikuchi? It's like, I'm pretty sure he still feels like crap. He got some sort of bug or something. He just didn't feel great. And then as he showed over, against the Athletics with 12 Ks and only 3 earned runs, was it?
The 1 earned run was Ty France can't field second base. So Whit Merrifield, it would have been 2 runs if Ty France is not playing freaking second and actually turns the freaking double play.
And that's why I'm kind of thinking with Evan White on the shelf this year, I have a feeling they might push the Whit button, just because I think they like Ty France more at first. But sorry to get off track, but I would say yes on Kikuchi. I would do it.
See, and I have a Kikuchi shirt and I love them, and man, it's a tough question for me, but I probably lean JT's way. I probably say no, but it's tough. Like, you can easily convince me if he picks up the rest of the year, you can easily convince me yes. So, like what you're saying, I'm saying for hypothetical with JT, like Logan Gilbert, Hendricks, and Kikuchi at the top. Even if you have Flexen next year too, and you could even think about shipping him this year if you get a nice deal for him because he has 2 years or whatever you're looking at. But like, that's not terrible. You just need kind of the front end guy, and if you think that's gonna be Hancock or Kirby, like, even if you don't have a front end guy, you got 5 solid projectable guys right there.
All right, let's wrap this up on one last question. So, are the Mariners going to be buyers, sellers, or stand pat at the trade deadline?
They're going to be the Rays. The Rays who bought Nelson Cruz and then traded away Rich Hill. They will be both.
I don't really see them doing much, honestly. I think they're just going to stay the course. I think they're just going to kind of hang out and maybe a small trade, but I don't think you're going to see any big names be traded from the Mariners. Kevin, what do you think?
I think we probably will. I with Ty, like I want to see Ty France get a little bit more playing time at second just to see, but like I with what their position is at right now, with them only being a game and a half and being on the door of the playoffs, I think they're wanting to put Ty at first and they want a solution at second. I think we're going on the Whit Merrifield train. And it's possible with Sean too. Like I think we could possibly trade off a piece. Who knows? I kind of need to look and see what we would trade off, just because there's a lot of pieces and there's still like you still have Best, you still have.
No, Wilt Vest is gone, isn't he? He's
Oh,
back.
is he?
He's back with the Tigers. He got DFA'd, and now the Tigers picked him back up.
Oh, did he? Oh, they did.
Yeah.
So,
But Flexen could be as a kind of unknown little trade chip because he's had a good year and he's got another year left. Like, got a good ERA. People are gonna look at that. Like,
Sean, JT is right here. Like, why would you say that?
no, but I would love to keep Flexen, but can you not say he has value to other teams who needs a starter? I mean, Rich Hill got traded, and Flexen's been better than Rich Hill recently. So,
and you're about to have Justin Dunn come back too.
So I'm just saying,
to where. No, I'm saying like because Justin Dunn, for what he's given you so far this year, has been a solid fifth, and it seems like they're okay doing bullpen games to where like if you can get some really good pieces for Flexen, I could see it.
Okay, so I'm saying stand pat. Kevin says they're gonna buy. Sean is gonna say break even, I think. JT, what do you think?
I almost agree with the break even part. Looking at Kyle Seager, he's got a club option for next year. That's it. We don't really have a third base strong third.
I think if he becomes traded, that becomes it is a player option. I think I remember.
Oh, is it?
It is guaranteed if he gets traded.
Okay. Well, we don't really have a strong third base prospect, so it really gives me a question mark what we want to do. But I'm okay with eating him, as the kids say these days. Ken Giles, I forget what his timeline of health is, but I thought he might see him in September. But man, that contract escalates quickly. Let's just put it that way. This year is only 1.25 million. The next year's 5.25, and then 9.5 club option for 2023. I don't think he's of value because by the time he comes back, but so maybe next year. But yeah, I agree. Flexen could be a trade chip. Graveman's free agent next year. Do you want to keep him? Do you want to trade him? Get him back? I mean, like a Scherzer thing, like speculating, you could trade him this year and just, hey, come back to the Mariners next year and sign with us again. That happens, right? I want to keep Mitch Haniger for this year at least. That'd be my vote. So a little bit of everything with the cherry on top. I want it all, Matt. I want it all.
Well,
I want it now.
You know,
a sneaky play. I think Paxton comes back next year.
Okay. So we are winding down here. We are approaching 55 minutes. So let's get a prospect update. Who wants to go first? Don't all raise your hands at once. Okay, I'm gonna throw it to Sean here. Sean, prospect update.
I wasn't ready. Well, the update I'll give, the biggest one, I'm gonna steal it. Kevin said no, but Marte has been thrown around for people that let's trade for Whit Merrifield. Let's throw Marte in here. The baseball prospectus and Baseball America update ratings came out, and he falls in. And I think MLB pipelines came out, and he falls at number 5 in all of baseball now. So the Mariners have 1, 2, and 5 in the prospect rankings. Jared Kelenic is still considered a prospect right now. Julio last I saw was 1, depending on how you're looking at it between all three of these. Julio was 1, Kelenic was 2, and then Marte was 5. So yeah, I am not trading Marte for Whit Merrifield. You are not touching that sweet, sweet prince of a man. Like, I assume before sooner rather than later. He has not been called up, but my boy Austin Shenton was called up to Double A. So all from one tweet of a guy saying he's a nothing, and he's just continued. He hit his first home run today, Kevin, at Double A. So keep doing things. There's your third baseman of the future.
I was about to say he is a third baseman.
Shenton, right there. I'm not really thinking that, but he's just fun. He's just fun to root for because they wrote him off already.
Yeah.
JT, prospect update?
Lots of like up and down movement. I know they're probably making room off of the 2021 MLB draft. So I was just trying to key in on some bigger names, but just I'm not really seeing much in terms of like Aqua Sox value. But just know that like the MLB draft that just happened will really kind of shake things up quite a bit.
Kevin, any prospect updates?
Other than what Sean mentioned, the only one that I would pull up, and he's not really a prospect, but his bat has heated up significantly over the last week or two, has been Jose Marmoleos, AAA. He has been just hitting dingers. Like, his bat's been very hot recently, to where it'd be kind of have an interesting look to see if you possibly if he's part of the call-ups as a utility piece, so to speak, because he kind of plays multiple positions. Be interesting to see what happens there, even though, like I said, he's not a prospect, but it's just a hot bat I've been noticing from all the Twitter feeds and stuff that has been doing well over the past couple of weeks. So be interesting to see what happens in September.
All right. Well, we are coming up towards the end of the show. Tell us what you think of who the Mariners might deal, who they might try and get in a trade. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Beatty_Matt. Sean's at Sean_Beatty. Kev's at Kev's the first team believes being a 3. And JT is at JT_the Ginger. We are going to get out of here on one last MLB topic. You guys have seen a few trades so far. Is there any trade you like? Is there any guy you think is going to be moving that people might not expect? I want to hear your opinions while I share this great tweet from someone. The Mariners are down 8-7, and this is an embodiment of the Mariners right now. If you've ever watched South Park, I didn't hear no bell. So this is the Mariners right now, their season. So Kevin, who did you like in the trade? I saw the Adam Frazier trade. I thought that's great because I picked the Padres, and they're going to the World Series, everybody. They're going to the World Series. So I got it right. I'm just going to predict it now. Kevin, who do you like? Who do you think's going to trade?
A third place team, you're like calling victory. Okay.
Yeah, calling it right now.
The Nelson Cruz one wasn't too bad. It just gives him a little bit of a pop. To be honest, just because he is, so I have Nelson Cruz in both of my leagues, and even though he is still very good, he's also like day to day, damn near every week. Just because something pops up, like his back goes out, or he got his dentures, stuff like that. But yeah, the Frazier trade was a very interesting, and the fact, as previously mentioned, that the Mariners were kind of looking into it too. Definitely helps the Padres out, makes their lineup a little bit more scary, I guess you could say, and defensively better. Makes that tight race in the NL West a little bit even more interesting, between the Dodgers, Padres, and Giants. So that's pretty much going to be, other than the Mariners, what I'm going to be watching in baseball is just those three teams just having a knife fight pretty much in a parking lot, going at it. Yeah, nothing really too special so far. So
we'll see if there's some blockbusters. Sean, what do you think of the trade so far?
I think the trades, they've been kind of feeling out trades other than the Nelson Cruz one. I think kind of just like seeing where the market is. I think the Rays wanted to get ahead of it because I think they're not going to want to compete or start a bidding war with somebody. So they just said, look, this is what we're going to give you. And let's do the thing. I think they gave up 2 pretty decent prospects, but they're so filthy rich in that organization with prospects. It's kind of silly. I think the Whit Merrifield will be the one to drop. I expect the one who said he will not, but then recently today said he would get traded is Scherzer. I was going to have Scherzer be the surprise pick, but today he said he would accept our waive his no trade clause. But yeah, I expect some actual moves. I would have thought this year would not, but there's so much, especially in the AL or NL East, every team's still in it, and I don't think a lot of those teams know what they want to do. So the Whit Merrifield will drop the hat, and then I think it'll start a little mini rally of teams making moves.
You're watching Kyle Seager's home run. I mean, very nice line drive home run there by Kyle Seager. JT, what have you thought of the trade market so far?
Oh, it's starting to come up to a boil. How about that? I just saw that Andrew Chafin goes to the Athletics from the Cubs for two no name Diekman and Palencia.
Famous last words on the no name.
No, and then in the same breath, I'm reading the Cubs that the GM is saying Kyle Hendricks is definitely not being discussed. It'd have to come with a strong offer. Well, DePoto, come in here. Come with a strong offer. I kind of just want to see Hendricks now that we've wished it to fruition. But Frazier, very savvy, nice ad by the Padres. I thought they had enough middle infield help, but maybe they're doing 5 wide across the middle infield or across the whole infield. That'd be pretty sweet. Like a 5-2 defense. That'd be awesome. Bear down.
Ground ball pitcher. Kevin, can I say that I want to say that the new update rankings, our boy Austin Shen finally cracked the Mariners top 30. He's 29th. He only had to hit a 170 WRC plus in single A, and then it's 150 in double A so far. So that's all it took for him to crack top 30 for the Mariners.
All right. Before we get out, I have 2 final quick questions. JT, what team is your hat?
That is Burlington Royals, former, now currently the Burlington Sock Puppets. Because they were one of the 42 teams that lost their direct relationship with MLB, and so they kind of went independent. So their hats went on sale, and I scooped one up.
Very nice, very nice. And let's talk about the other news in MLB. The Cleveland baseball team will now be the Guardians starting next season. Hate, love, dislike? Are you getting a hat, JT? Like what? I don't mind it, and I didn't know about the history of those Guardians in Cleveland, so it makes more sense now that I know that. But it kind of felt like it was an Angels logo almost when they revealed it. I was like, are you copying the Angels kind of? But I see where it comes from now, so I don't mind it as much. As long as they keep that cool Cleveland C hat, that's all I really care about because that's a cool hat. JT, what do you think?
To tie it in, actually, the Sock Puppets tweeted out when it was announced that those Guardians are like, wow, what a lame name. I thought that was good tongue in cheek. I think it's okay. I think the Spiders made the most sense, but they're going in a certain direction. I appreciated Tom Hanks voicing their kind of 2-minute intro. I didn't really realize how much he had ties to Cleveland, because when I think of Tom Hanks and the city, I think of Philadelphia. So yeah, I mean, good on them. What the logo reminded me of was Super Mario and his like red wings hat when he's able to fly. But hey, I mean, I get, it's time for a change, and I guess it's a solid one. It'll just have to grow on us like a fungus.
Sean, what do you think?
Yes, I think the Spiders were the play, but I mean, at least they picked something that is like relevant. I think most people, like you said, Matthew, don't know that the Guardian means something to Cleveland. So, I mean, when you take that into context, that's fine. But I think Spiders, just based on I would have bought a Cleveland Spiders hat. That's how sick that old logo was. Like, and there's no one else called the Spiders. Like, how is that a thing? Like, you could really market the hell out of Spiders. And yep, right there, JT. Playing October baseball with Spiders, your mascot. Boom. That's it. Halloween.
Kevin, what'd you think?
Yeah, it's like me. The thing that bugged me was, one, the letters in Guardians, like the font. I thought the font could have been weird. It just looks weird.
They only have to change a couple of letters now from Indians to Guardians.
Like, and also I think the logo was kind of rushed too. I think they could do the logo to make it look a little bit more badass instead of the baseball with the whole wings, and like make like a cool little guardian that like has like a C on it or something, just make it look like a total badass. Like, go find some artists to just do some crazy shit for you. I mean, there's plenty of artists that do crazy artwork for random stuff like Magic the Gathering and other that you can create a super sweet logo that you can put on there that just doesn't look like it was done by like an 8th grade artist real quick in like 24 hours.
I saw something about the architecture also ties into the Guardians around Cleveland, so maybe they could like pull some. I don't,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but because when I first thought Guardian, I thought maybe like gladiator-esque attire or something. But I mean, they can always change and edit and update and get feedback. But yeah, sorry, go on. But I
Just thinking
agree.
about this, why do baseball teams really like socks as names? Aqua Sox, Sock Puppets, Red Sox, White Sox.
Okay, hold on.
Why are we
Aqua
socks?
Socks and sock puppets are totally legit. Why are like 3 major league teams named after freaking colors of socks? Like, and 2 of them are the same color. Like, you couldn't think of another color if you're gonna be that lame. For
Yeah.
those of you that don't know, the Reds are also Red Sox, but they actually had to change their name. Like, yeah.
Yeah, there's a weird baseball obsession with socks. It's very weird. It's very weird. Go ahead and let us know what you think on Twitter of socks in baseball. It's very weird. I'm at Beta Matt. Sean's at Sean Beatty. Kev's at Kev's believe the first he believes me. 3. JT is at JT_the ginger. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think of all the topics we talked about today. Next week, I'm sure we're gonna have a lot more Mariners. We're gonna talk about any trades they may have made, and training camp will be in full swing. Hello, Mila. Looks like you're very tired. It is getting late, so we will wrap it up here. Thank you, JT, for coming on once again as a guest, and we will see you next time on Washington East to West Sports.
Mr. Sacco.